Good time zone, everybody. Welcome back to ZSR. Tonight we have a Z2R Standard Tournament 2024 brackets round match between traiLZ and Chadbert. This is game 2 between the pair of them, and I have Eleanor to do the tracking and RG365 who is going to do the tracking. Eleanor's going to do the talking. That's what I'm looking for there. So I'm going to hand it over to him. Eleanor, who's up on this?
Yeah, hello everybody. Welcome to ZSR After Dark, or at least dark wherever you are. We've got traiLZ and Chadbert up today. This is game 2 of a potential best of 3. What's best of 3, but we'll hope we get 3. traiLZ won the previous race in a very, very close match, sub 1 minute, and so could be anybody's race here. traiLZ is the 1 seed here in the tournament, so definitely favored to win the match on paper, but anything can happen. And with how close the previous race was, really anything could happen. traiLZ taken down our tournament admin TAH in the first round, and Chadbert taken down Me Think So in sort of the first bracket upset as far as matches by seeding go. But this is game 2. If Chadbert wins, we'll go on to a game 3. If not, traiLZ is going to advance regardless of the outcome. The winner of this match going to go on to face either Digshake or myself in the next round. And we should be starting off fairly soon here. Just a little bit to go. We've got just standard flags here in the standard tournament, same as we saw for Swiss rounds. We're going to see again throughout the whole bracket stage, no changes at all. Oh boy, and two newish sprites being used here. traiLZ, is that some sort of Castlevania themed sprite? I'm not actually familiar with who exactly that is. Chadbert with the Guma sprite, and we're going to see some fun when we get into Palace 5 on his end. Get a quick sighting of Saria and a Heart Container Cave Fairy Town for free out of Rauru. And not so free of an item in Heart Container Cave for Chadbert. Does look like it's probably islands, just based on the start with that water edge. 50-point P-bags in the small enemy drop pool. It's a good thing to see, especially early, just to have something as a baseline. And, or so saying, thing we want to find immediately in islands would be boots, and Chadbert going to find them immediately. traiLZ, of course, going to be right behind. It is just sort of the way islands work sometimes. Pretty high likelihood of finding you the boots, just because Rando is looking for some way to make the whole seed come together, and putting some boots early is an easy way to make the islands a little bit less trolly. traiLZ not having those boots is going to be able to find grass tile early, get a heart container, and he's going to up A and going to have his boots fairly shortly here. Chadbert getting the jump that traiLZ has already gotten. Well, traiLZ continuing to look around, but it looks like probably those boots are going to be the only way off of this little segment here. So spell here, but with the slightly different sequencing for Chadbert, he's going to have Kirak disappearing with the magic jar. Good to know that's useless. Chadbert going to be able to have slightly better routing, going to be able to pick up the down stab pretty much right away. 99 is the current cost of fairies, so not castable. Could be a magic 2 or magic 3 could make it castable, but you can It could be all the way up to, I believe Magic 5 is the first level at which you're guaranteed to have a cast of fairy. I believe it is Alucard. I've not seen this one before, but I saw it a little bit when I was in development. Chadbert gonna check this grass tile. So both runners basically checking everything available quickly on this east in opposite order, or on the west in opposite order. Chadbert with a little bit of the lead, having find the boots first just for a little bit more efficient routing. Gonna see that P4 is our first palace available on the west. Trail's gonna go warn to press the down button. Ooh, and orange tires in the swamp, are they good? 150, yes please. That is a good early farm if you feel like farming. We've got medicine in the east as well. Okay, so we've got 100-point P bags as well in the small pool. Chadbert thinking about fighting some enemies in the Jargon Fairy Cave, but decides against it. Be a bit spooky if you get multiple strong enemies together there. Got a bridge and a rock up here in the northwest. Bridge goes to the maze, rock goes to who knows where. Definitely going to be an item or a continent connector that just pointing off the edge there. Okay, just a shield. Unlikely our runner is going to be going out and hunting a trophy for that. So far our two required item spells are not required. Okay, yeah, and traiLZ, having found the maze, decides that he is going to check it out, hoping for good experience here in the maze, and he's going to find it 300 points from the orange Rosalfos. And yeah, if I saw, I was going to say, if I saw 300 points, that'd be, oh, he's just going to farm this same encounter. It's smart, it's right next to the edge. Every time you leave the continent, the enemies are going to respawn, and so he's going to be able to fight this same orange Rosalfos multiple times and pick up a few quick levels. Meanwhile, Chadbert finding a lonely P bag. Okay, 200 points from the large pool, another 200 from the monster. Okay, so we've got a small, a large, and a medium all in their vanilla ranges. Probably that 200 could be a double down roll on the XL, but yeah, traiLZ searching this maze partially for the items, but this experience is going to be a huge boost because yeah, more 300-point enemies. Let's see what this palace is, or we won't. I feel like you want to at least take a look at the palace, at the very least, just to know if it's GP. Because like if you find an any key here in the maze, you might be tempted to, if you like, for example, if you know that's Palace 1, you might be tempted to do that right away while you're here. Versus like if you know it's GP, then you can't, or P5, where you might not necessarily want to. Yeah, so traiLZ prioritizing magic levels, looking to see if he can cast fairy. He can now, so magic 4 gonna be the key point. Chadbert continuing to just check all the caves on the west, not finding anything good so far. He did find a kid, which means that we've got access to... We're not going to have a critical spell blocked early on. Ever doing a quick check here in P1. I don't know if he has a key. Didn't see any keys in the drop pool, but Maybe also as well, just looking for 21 points to finish off this level. Ooh, let's see what the Dripper is. And Womp. Oh, 50 points though. Finish up his attack level. Okay, Chadbert did have a key, but has now spent it. I guess I don't know how many more he has. He's gonna keep going. Here's the item room. Okay, so he does have a second key. Gonna get the raft. That could be good. Still haven't seen either a raft tile or have any idea where it goes, but yeah, 2, 4, 3, and traiLZ just disregarded life levels. He's just trying to go fast, get magic levels so he can cast fairy, get attack so he can go quickly. Chadbert finds a 3 or 6 and just takes the up A. Which we're gonna get for the red iron knuckle today? 70 is not 90. Alright, there's our raft. See if Chadbert can get any value from his out of logic raft pickup. So far looking like no. That is a very closed off looking Death Mountain. Okay, so key is supposed to be pretty common in this drop pool. Chadbert getting another one. Now traiLZ is going to loop back and pick up all of his items in the west. We're going to see Chadbert check out that maze. Unfortunately, based on Chadbert's exploration, traiLZ didn't see another connector on the maze. So that tells us a couple things, assuming that we haven't missed anything. It looks like it may be the case that the only way off of this west is either the raft or potentially that rock block cave. And if that's the case, then we know that we may, like, despite how bad that Death Mountain looks, that may be just hard required. And if that's the case, that could suck. But I know traiLZ is a master of navigating difficult DMs, potentially on low resources, though in this case, he's got plenty. But he is gonna check everything in the west before moving on. Nobody wants to do Death Mountain, but when you don't have a choice, he's gonna be forced to. The real question is, which palace is he going to do first? We know that raft was in P1. He may do this 3 or 6 first. He's got a couple keys and the fairy spell, but still only 1 cast per life. It's 50-something. Even with another container, I don't think he's got 2 casts. So he's hoping for a P3 that's not that trolly. Wow, this blue iron knuckle refusing to be jackhammered down. Worth 200, but probably not worth the squeeze. Now we'll see how much Chadbert decides to farm, having seen that 300 pointless Alphos. Do the same thing traiLZ did. Do a reset. Just a P bag is the item in this 3 or 6. So we've got raft in 1, cross in 2, 3 or 6 is a P bag. Odds of a glove in a palace rapidly reducing. That's probably the biggest troll that we still had left. Confirmation traiLZ is in P6. Ah yes, and a jar in 4. You got a hint for that one as well. So 3 and 5, the 2 palaces we don't know the item in. And Chadbert is at 414. Ordinarily, this would be a pretty sensible leveling strategy, right? Just stay alive and do a lot of damage helps you go fast. But I'd be a little bit worried that he is not prioritizing getting some magic when, logically speaking, he's going to be required to make use of it. He did end up getting that raft out of logic, and so he might be able to sort of get away with it a while longer, but... Ooh, nice use of Fairy to get past that Doom Knocker. traiLZ knowing that there's no way he's going to be able to fight it in that tight corridor. Just fairies through, only takes 1 hit. Oh, but stab, not quite the right time, and doesn't get the block off on the beam. I'm going to have to restart this room. Chadbert taking a little bit different route than traiLZ did here on the maze, not getting rewarded for it. Only 16 for jump for traiLZ, that's a nice one. And first item for Chadbert. We of course know that neither of these items are any good. I mean, the jar is actually, given that that's the 6th jar for Chadbert, it's actually pretty nice. Because I think at Magic 2 that makes Fairy castable. I think it's 90 something at this level. Oh, it goes down to 58 at Magic 2. Okay, so it was castable anyway. I had seen traiLZ pressing for magic levels and thought it might not have been castable, but he was just trying to get a second cast out, but doesn't get it. Chadbert picking up the $200, only to immediately cancel the $200 with an up A. Oh, traiLZ got himself into a spot. Decides it's not worth it. Just gonna up A. Okay, so Chadbert gonna move on. He's gonna take a look through this mountain. We know logically this is how you're supposed to advance, but the time traiLZ spending in palaces here not gonna be wasted. We do know GP is on the maze, so our runners are gonna have to up A eventually back here, so whether you do these palaces now or later doesn't really make that much of a difference. Ooh, okay, so that just immediately leads to a dead end. So now the question is there another path in the mountain that you can use those boots to get to, or do we have a required rock block to another connector? But Chadbert's going to check the water in just a second after he's out of here. Oof. A bit of a tough death for traiLZ. And this is the thing that really sucks for Chadbert. You want to check those water, you gotta watch the entire raft animation twice. But he can walk down the coast here. Yeah, no. This little section of DM, not the way. So we are on a hammer hunt. Oh boy, the only palace we still have access to find that hammer in is 4. Forced double dip 4, oh baby. I believe 4 is the palace that they have access to. I might be wrong. Right, they've got 6, they've got 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it 2, 3, or 6s? Is there a Palace 3 available? Well, no, it can't be Palace 4. We know Palace 4 is the jar. So yeah, the other 3 or 6 must be, there must be 2, 3, or 6s. And so Palace 3 is gonna have a hammer. And then Palace 6 has a P bag. So no double dip on 4. For some reason I was thinking that P4 was the remaining palace on the west. So if I'm right about the logic, it's a very cool one. Sort of, it's got enough of a troll. The fun thing is that Chadbert knows a lot, right? Him knowing that you need the hammer is going to tell him that now that he's found that P bag in 6, he doesn't need to. No, it is 4. Okay. What are we missing then? What am I missing? Because we knew 4 is a jar. Yeah, I'm confused. Did both our runners just miss a pass? So there's a couple reasons that I was thinking that the last palace was the other 3 or 6. Did we see Hammer Cave? I don't think we did. The other reason I thought the other palace 3 or 6 is I'm cheating and looking at Chadbert's tracker, and he had a different palace marked off as being the last palace. He had 3 marked as being available, but it was presumably him just not knowing whether it was 3 or 6. So yeah, obviously we missed something. Either the runners or me. We did get a hint that this was a magic jar here in 3. It is a magic jar. And Chadbert looks confused. I don't blame him. Is there a cave on here that we missed? What Chadbert should be doing, what I hope to see Chadbert do, is put those boots to good use and walk along the water on the outside of the maze just to double check this, although it looks like it doesn't have any encounters. Okay, so something's missing. How close are we to opening Z2 Edit? I mean, I'm not going to open it up yet. You feel free to take a look if you want, Slim. It is slightly broken. There's an issue between 4.13 or 4.3.13 and Z2 Edit that I'm trying to. I know what the problem is. I don't know how to solve the problem yet. It's on Z2 Edit's end, related to us expanding the ROM, so it doesn't load up quite right. But Chadbert's doing the sensible thing here and rechecking all these caves, see if There's one that he missed. And yeah, I'm kind of stumped here, but it could definitely be that both our owners just missed this. There's just a cave somewhere. traiLZ has got his raft. People are doubling up here. Check some stuff myself. Yeah, the tricky thing is that we sort of know that DM can't go anywhere. Maybe we just missed something in DM. Yeah, we've got... Oh, I see what it is. Yeah, now Chadbert is shaking his head. He has also figured out what it is. This is a four-way cave. And he just went straight through it. But four-way caves, believe it or not, have four ways that you can go. Yeah, no, I also just missed this the first time through. And good news for him that not going to be a huge difference. But yeah, no, this four-way cave just lets you go to a completely different place. It's a thing that's easy to miss. I don't think that's going to be a killer mistake by Chadbert, but definitely not a welcome one, and he does not look happy about it. The big question will be, you know, how much time did he lose in doing that? How much time is it going to take traiLZ to find the right route in the mountain? Also, you know, Chadbert deciding to defer doing these palaces may turn out well for him if he's able to come in, you know, with much higher levels, maybe a glove, things that could help him quickly clear it out. But Chadbert did make his way all the way over to the coast. That's going to be good for him because the boots are going to allow him to sort of go wherever he wants along this edge. But traiLZ's going to have a second gem on the board. And since he has the raft already in hand, we're going to see him use that pretty quickly here, unless he too has forgotten how this place is shaped. And he's heading north, so maybe he has. You know, the raft is south central. He may have just not checked all these caves yet. I was gonna say, this is Hammer Cave, right? Yeah. Because yeah, we're looking for Hammer Cave or a way off of Death Mountain. Hammer Cave is gonna let us get the item from Spec Rock and also access that last cave in the west. And I haven't been tracking completely whether they've gotten all of the other item caves. But if they have, that would mean that that's definitely going to be a cave to the east. The rock being the cave to the east is definitely the kinder of the possible outcomes. If you have to find a specific pass-through cave buried in the middle of Death Mountain, it can be cruel. Alright, so trail's in the mountain. Let's see how long it takes him to figure out the right way to go. He's also going to go straight across. Yeah, wow, these keys in the small pool look like they're very common. Would be a nice supple. Okay, no hammer in Hammer Cave. That is bad news for Chadbert. It means that the way forward is in fact going to be buried somewhere in the mountain. traiLZ is back in this four-way cave. Is he gonna realize it's a four-way cave like I didn't? Yes, traiLZ confirmed, better runner than me. Interesting that he and Chadbert both took the right immediately instead of the left up the elevator. It does kind of make sense just on direction. So when you have a sort of Death Mountain Navigation 102 as far as it comes to paired caves, if you have a four-way and you entered from below, right? You entered going up as Chadbert finds a cave to the east and it's islands, so no segmented east for us. He's gonna be able to boot his way to victory here. But as I was saying, when you have a paired four-way cave, if you go up initially and you come in on the right side of the swing, that means that the other cave that is on the right side of the screen is going to orient the same way. Right? So when you're going up that elevator, you know that based on the way they came in, if he goes left, he's going to exit going northward, and if he goes right, he's going to exit going southward. Now, which of north or south is the right way to go there? It's hard to say, but given how cramped it looked going north, south was probably a better bet, so I think it's the right call for both our runners, but a thing to keep in mind that's not always immediately obvious. Meanwhile, Chadbert gonna learn to press up in addition to down. Also finding the hammer here in the east. And Reflect Spell. So that's gonna be the last of the things that he needs. I guess he doesn't need to get Thunder, but we know it's gonna be not blocked. And then the last remaining question is, where's our glove? A possibility that flute is required, not really likely, with an island where we're never going to see a required flute in terms of getting rid of River Devil, but 3 at Rock Shuffle is on, so there could be anything beneath it. It could even be a boat. And if it turns out that that's required, we could still require a flute. Okay, fire here for Chadbert. And we're gonna almost certainly see quick fire check, 36. He's gonna want to get into combat before checking what fire is linked to. trail's finding Hammer Cave just gonna get his heart. I don't blame him for wanting to check it while he's here. Medicine for Chadbert. That's the spell. And boy, if turning in that medicine to get to spell ends up being required and you have to go through that whole Death Mountain twice, our runners are going to be upset. Okay, first palace check here on the east is going to be 2. Oh man, I don't think we saw a fire check. That would be a good time to do. Yeah. Oh, we did see a check that it's not life. Okay. It could be spell. If it is spell, that's a good thing to know. Not terribly useful, but it'll let you check spell tower without the double dip. As trail's pretty swiftly navigating the Death Mountain. Not really faster or slower than Chadbert, basically the same route, but without the whole double dipping procedure. Yeah, it's been a good race so far. Chadbert made an unfortunate error that looks like it cost him in the neighborhood of 5 minutes, but still an amount he can catch up. There was a required trip through Death Mountain to get here to the east, and Chadbert just missed the path for about 5 minutes. And to be fair, I also missed the path, so. But trail's did not. And so trail's is a little bit behind in exploration here in the east, but does have the benefit of like I said, it's just some medicine. Trails has the benefit of putting 2 gems down already. Chadbert has not. Chadbert has seen a decent amount of P1 and a little bit of P6 as well. Chadbert snagged the raft out of logic to be able to get here. Or what was out of logic at the time, but could have easily been in logic slightly later. Yeah, I think at this point, Chadbert is saying, I want the glove before I go into Valis's. Because that is one of the ways that he could save some time if it turns out that the glove is in fact here at the end of town. Then and fire is actually spell. Then he could save quite a bit of time if traiLZ ends up getting glove blocked to one of these palaces. I guess Chadbert is going to spell tower, so he must think that this fire is definitely spell. And it is. So no trolley double dip. Oof, and a candle. He is just not getting good stuff. Yes, Slammer with a good point. There is still a check in the west beneath that rock, and a second check in Death Mountain underneath Spec Rock. But neither runner really wants to go back west. You'd much rather clear the east, get everything here, and then not have to double dip through that Death Mountain, because even if you know the way, it's not a quick route. Trail's up A-ing out of that palace. Didn't quite catch everything, but he must think it's blocked or fear it's blocked. Either of those things are reasonable. So Chadbert with an item here. One of the 2 caves in the east. I don't think we've seen either yet. Okay, this is the glove. So yeah, now if you're Chadbert, it's palace time. Just put your foot all the way down, clear these 3 palaces in the east, take the up A, clear the 3 palaces in the west, quick little jog to DM, or a quick little jog to the Maze Island for GP, and then he's golden. Oh, and trails a hint, go east to find the glove. Wow. I mean, he was probably going to check all these eastern locations anyway here, but Chadbert just leaving that palace. Don't get it. I understood Chadbert's previous decision that doesn't want to do a palace. Maybe it's just he wants to do this one first. Put off 5 for as long as you can. Makes some amount of sense. Although 4/4/5, I don't know. 4/4/5 with like spell in hand, I feel like it'd be enough, but it doesn't cost him that much. Because like I don't think he's gonna get attack 5 here. And, like another magic level is not really gonna make a huge difference for him in P5. Possible he gets either a hold off for an attack level or a double dip here. He does have quite a decent amount of experience coming in. Trail's getting his flute, but while we haven't seen what's underneath it, we know it's not going to be required because we've already seen every required thing. The only thing that's required now for Chadbert and fairly soon for traiLZ is to go beat up some bosses. traiLZ is going to check that full location, though he doesn't know there isn't anything good under here. Just a Wilson. If it feels like that happens a lot, it's because it does. There's just a lot of Wilson encounters in the pool. And here's Sunken for traiLZ, and I think this was the one that had the glove. Hard to remember exactly. The second halves of the caves look the same. Looks like a 4-bar life refill if I counted correctly, which is a nice find. Yeah, just not enough experience for Chadbert. He is going to get neither the attack 5 carryover nor the double dip here. Wow, and Helmet Head refuses to go down. His health bar is like in vanilla a little bit screwy. Oh wow, he does get a roll up to get the double dip. Very nice. 6 containers required for the basement, but not going to be required for traiLZ. Okay, so that palace sequencing is going to be nice for him. Is he going to roll it over? Yeah, he's going to roll it over. And then he's going to be very, very close to attack. And now he's going in the Valley of Death? What? I do not approve of this sequence. I know you want to hold off on doing 5, but like doing 2 first before you do 5 costs you like 10 or 15 seconds, right? Like it's not a very high cost. Doing this Valley of Death Palace, which is going to be 3 before you do 5, costs like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. Like, going through that valley is not quick. You really don't want to do it a second time. Maybe not quite 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe 2 minutes, maybe. Still, right? Like, he's going to be spending a couple extra minutes going back through that valley in exchange for what is almost certainly just, like, one life level, that's a trade-off that I don't think is really worth it. But then again, you know, taking a game over to Guma is a thing that loses even more time. Don't ask me how I know. Yeah, and Magic 5 Fairy, very cheap, so Chadbert's gonna start abusing that. Nobody would ever game over to Gilman. Yeah, no. Certainly not in a way that would cause them to lose a race. The funny thing is, this is somewhat of a joke with Slamu, but this could be referring to several different races in this tournament. Here's the item here for Chadbert, and he's gonna go for it. We don't know what this one is. This one is a mystery. If this is the any key, this is gonna be worth his time. If it's kind of anything else, probably not. It's the double kill. I think that counts, though. Might be wrong. Oh, it doesn't. And Chadbert's not happy about it. Yeah, this room not only an item room, but the anti-cheese walls make it a little funky. But no problem the second time through. We're gonna get an item. It's gonna be a heart. Okay, that's the second best thing it could have been. Probably not worth the time, but not a terrible pickup. Say a cross or a trophy or something like that would be much worse. And I think between heart and magic there, Chadbert got the better of them. Well, and a pretty quick pass. People are going to try for his revenge. I somewhat doubt it's going to happen. And traiLZ, the one picking up the any key from 5. And he's 2 bars of magic short of what Chadbert is, so that's going to be pretty nice for him, since he only had 2 casts of fairy instead of 3. And as expected, Chadbert gonna bury his way out of the valley. So if he gets some pretty quick fairy feet, this might not be too long. Yeah, maybe I overestimated how much time. Well, here's the problem. I didn't see the thunder cost. Everybody check with me the next time we see a pause menu. Thunder costs could still be a concern for Trail with only 5 containers. Not going to be one for Chadbert at 7. Trail's doing the thing we all do, pick up that key immediately after you get the any key. It's just a tradition. I see key, I pick up key. I get any key, I still pick up keys. Yeah, 16 magic per container. Life is a little bit weird. It's 32 life per container, but since 255 is the max, the last container only has 31 health in it. Don't ask. Yeah, this P5 looking like a P5 here for traiLZ. Oh, and okay, so traiLZ thinks this is a loop, and it is, so he's just gonna pass through. It's a smart thing traiLZ did there. If you think you're seeing an elevator loop into itself, what he did was go down one floor, and then go right. That did a couple things. If he sees the same enemy he saw before, it's gonna make him think, okay, this is definitely a duplicate. And whether he does that or not, if you go right there, you always want to go an odd number of floors in an elevator you think is a direct loop, because if it takes you somewhere different, you'll see that. Whereas if you go an even number of floors, you're always going to be looped back. So you might not recognize, you might get a false positive, think it's a loop when it's not. Here, traiLZ seeing that blue iron knuckle is going to be fairly confident that it is a loop, though there's no duplicate protection on in this flag set, so could still be a dupe. traiLZ correctly determining from the 2 enemies standing on the stairs at the start that this is the pass-through version of this room. And yeah, good point from Slammo in chat. P5 is the place to catch up at this point. As far as places where Chadbert can gain a lot of time on traiLZ, because it's big, it's maze-like, and quickly finding the way to the boss could gain a bunch of time. Alright, Chadbert finds the item room, so he's going to get his any key. A little bit less valuable for him than it is for traiLZ, since he's got a big magic advantage, but still worth. At the very least, because it takes the GP key room out of contention, and unfortunately for Chadbert, traiLZ doesn't waste too much time finding Guma. He's going to be here at attack 4, but doing some smart. So he's going to stab, jump over the mace, stab. He's doing a little down stab thing inside, going to see if he can get an extra hit in there, but at the very least, doing some little 3-hit cycles. Good, fairly safe way. Going to come in with a full bar of health and give it one last shot, but this is his last shot. He is looking to be even more conservative. Just run in, get a stab, run in, get a stab. Occasionally you can go for these double stabs because they push Guma back. Help keep him away from you. But yeah, this is a nice... This go in, stab, jump over the mace, stab is a nice, safe strategy that still gets you a decent speed. And very clean for traiLZ. Well executed. A great example of safe strats on Guma. Yeah, the most aggressive strat, if you have down stab, that traiLZ can do is basically just try to get up inside of him and get a bunch of stabs inside of his hitbox using a combination of down stab and crouching stabs. That strategy, extremely unsafe, but very fast. Good if you're already on like 667 or something like that. Is that River Devil Dracula? Just sort of hanging out on that bridge? Some sort of vampire hanging out, chilling there. Appreciate all the themed pickups here. Shoutouts to Irene, author of a bunch of these custom sprites. Alright, and now Chadbert's going to be on the way here, so unfortunately, no gain of time in 5 here for Chadbert. but also really no loss. He's just gonna take basically the same route that traiLZ did. traiLZ spending some time grabbing some overworld pickups that Chadbert had already gotten. So probably Chadbert and traiLZ are going to be pretty close on paper in terms of number of palaces cleared, but 6 being what it is, it's going to be hard to say how far ahead or behind Chadbert actually is. I mean, he could get just a quick clear at 6. Everybody is to enjoy the glory that is the boss of Palace 5. Link is doing his best to beat up the traitor Guma. So far, Link with the win. Chadbert being a little bit more aggressive with his strats here on 5-6-5. No problem on the second try. So 3 palaces apiece between traiLZ and Chadbert. traiLZ with the extra clear on P6. Chadbert, sorry, traiLZ with 1 and 6, Chadbert with 2 and 3. And so now the big question for Chadbert is, how fast is he going to clear 6? Probably not going to gain too much time on 1. But a quick clear on 6 could be really advantageous for him catching up. And again, how long is it going to take traiLZ to clear out 2 and 3? I don't think they were that long, but always a chance you make a wrong turn. And, yep, okay. traiLZ just taking the straightforward path here in 2. Have this down quickly. Although attack 4 is, like, as usual, quite a bit worse than attack 5. But I think this level up will be attack 5 for traiLZ. Not attack 5, then life 6 and attack 6. No, that's right. This is going to be life 6. And then he can hold this pretty easily to get a attack 5 if he wants, but he's going to decline. Say that 500 bag, really all that it would have taken. But he'll have attack 5, no problem here after he clears out P3. Chadbert finding Force Head in no time. A little bit different route than traiLZ, just going through a glove block, but doesn't appear to be too much faster or slower. Yeah, once again, the runners completely even on number of palaces cleared. If Chadbert can do 6 without spending too much time, and he'll be kind of neck and neck with traiLZ. But P6 versus P3 is a pretty big difference when it comes to length of palace. Yeah, no. Trying to fight Guma on attack 3 and taking a game over. That'd be a bad idea, especially if it were in Death Mountain. Cost you a whole lot of time, and then you'd have to double dip it. There might even be a glove in that P5. That'd cost you a race. I read correctly recognizing the salt in my voice. To be fair, it was my fault. So yeah, as mentioned, 3 quite a bit quicker than 6, and traiLZ not only finds the boss quickly, but didn't find the item room like Chadbert did, so he's actually going to gain a little bit of time over Chadbert as he advances on to P4. Yeah, and I, of course, do not remember at all where the boss here is in P6. So far, in almost every palace, Chadbert and traiLZ have both just sort of followed the routing meta and haven't done anything crazy, so likely to have very similar palace clear times. Chadbert obviously can have a little bit of advantage here in 6 over what traiLZ did, just on the fact that he's here at 5, 6, 7 and not attack 3. Yeah, and unfortunately, the way that you can often catch up in GP, having this big advantage in containers and levels, is if GP is really tough. And that can be a winning advantage in GP, right? Like, just have more resources, don't game over because of it, and gain 5 minutes on your opponent game overing. The problem is that his opponent is traiLZ, and if there's anyone I have seen do some really effective low resource GPs, traiLZ is definitely on that list. I mean, #1 seed in the tournament for a reason, and he's also done, thousands of seeds. Trail, potentially the person who has played this randomizer more than anyone else. Certainly not as much recently as he used to, but a very, very experienced runner. And he experientially finds his way to the boss. And it's been interesting seeing the different strategies everyone uses for hard Kirak. traiLZ going all the way back in the corner, little bit of a safer position, but potentially a little bit slower, but gets it done, not a problem. And yeah, that was a quick P4 and not a quick P6 for Chadbert, and this is what I was talking about. Well, they're technically on the same page, P6s. It's P6. And so traiLZ going to be off to GP, likely 102 and change. Is this the fastest way? I mean, I guess if you're just fairy feeding. Yeah, you could go around, take the river, but I want to... 102.25. What I had on traiLZ's clock, just to get us a reference. And traiLZ, no clean audio, so we will be sticking with Chadbert here. But for people who are fans of drum and bass music, check out traiLZ's channel. He does some live DJing sessions that are really good. Also, check out Chadbert. Gonna be presumably still doing a bunch of Z2 stuff, even if he doesn't end up being victorious here. Very nice super jump for traiLZ, just sort of effortlessly getting up there in one. And traiLZ doesn't have shield, and I think he also doesn't have life. So he definitely is at a big disadvantage in terms of resources against Chadbert. But he's hoping to make up for that with just a bunch of skill. You don't get hits. Who needs shield and life? Hey, we got a jackhammer from Chadbert. Gets the one cycle. Well done. That's what these extra levels can do for you. Very, very nice. Okay, Chadbert, a little bit of delay before deciding to burn the gem, but still saving some time. 5, 6, 7 going to be pretty comfortable levels for any runners at this stage of the tournament. So we're likely to see Chadbert just stick on these levels. And with a quick 4, which is definitely a possibility given how quickly traiLZ beat it, Chadbert could be just a few minutes behind coming into GP. Unfortunately, it's definitely starting to look like that routing snafu that Chadbert had earlier is going to be the determining factor here. A black T-junction for traiLZ. Who gets the 50-50? Nice. It is another fork. No Thunderbird so far. Yeah, GP can absolutely destroy leads. Even the best of players can just get completely hosed by a GP that is both very tough and very maze-like. Speaking of tough, this is an unpleasant waffle configuration. traiLZ deciding to fight his way through, not wanting to jump up when the spicy chicken is there. He does the right thing, sort of make a little staircase opening for you to stab the chicken in the feet, then just standing stabs, or potentially jump standing stabs against the spicy chicken, and then here he's just gonna hit it on the way down to get the free stab. Well executed, showing off how to beat birds at each different position. And ooh, here we go. Up stab, block, wrench and room. Let's see. Wow, traiLZ first time. A bit tricky to get the timing on that stab to do that without jump. Very nice. Oh, this room sucks. Yeah, traiLZ wisely deciding that that's about enough of that and is gonna ferry his way across the room. It's oh no, a death right at the end. I was gonna say that ferry doesn't cost him that much, but yeah, here he's gonna have to do the room without ferry the second time because he does need to hold onto his magic. Killing the Kingbot despawns the bird at the end. Oh man, and then a fairy required room, so this is once again gonna knock traiLZ out of having enough magic for Thunder. He does have another life, so wouldn't be the end of the world he finds a Thunderbird, but he definitely can't afford to lose too much more. Okay. trailZ finds the key required room. Maybe forgetting he had the any key. This is technically not the... Oh, no. Yeah, okay. This fairy cast doesn't hurt trailZ that much because he already didn't have enough for Thunder. And, okay, here's Thunderbird. So, not too bad. Gonna have some... He needs to die here. He's fighting this chicken so that he can get through to the lava. Or he's gonna try and grind him. No, he's gonna die. Okay, I was gonna say. Could just kill himself on the chicken. Chadbert finds Kirok. Gonna take a death real quick to get Reflect. So he should be into GP shortly. But unfortunately, it may be too late. And wow, Life 7 just way too tanky here. Alright, trailZ getting a 3 hit to the right, followed by a 4 hit to the left. Only a 2, another 4 hit. Very clean. So trailZ on his last life, no magic in reserve, but with how much more Palace we've seen behind, and Thunderbird required is on, so this is going to be the way to Darkling. Could be over pretty soon. So killing the Kingbot despawns 5 of the 6 enemy slots, including the bubble spawner, and yep, as expected, this is going to be Darkling here for trailZ, and Chadbert is going to be entering almost exactly 8 minutes behind trailZ, but that's going to be the 8 minutes it took trailZ to beat GP. So, everybody get your GGs in chat. trailZ gonna win this race and the match. The official time 1:10:47. We'll see if trailZ wants to get in for an interview. It looks like he's going to be joining in just a sec here. As Chadbert does look like he's going to finish it out and give GP a shot. Very nice jump on the high 2 black gap. I personally find the 2 black gap a little one lower to be a little bit easier, but you know, you go where your stab takes you. Whatever you're comfortable with. You know, I don't think we had streamers for the earlier matches. I would have gotten in and done some comms, but it was in the first match and needed a break to do some stuff and get dinner before doing this one. Do recommend, if a bootleg does happen, check out my race with Dig Shake earlier. It was a fun one. And Chadbert finding that first dead end. And we're going to see him take the elevator here. so far all of this routing makes sense for Chadbert. And this is one of those things where when you've seen your opponents finished already, or even if you're not looking at the race room and you're just gambling, Chadbert might think he's behind. We might see some lefts. We'll see what he thinks here. Go for the 50-50. Nope, rejected. And takes his first death. And upon dying, Chadbert has looked over at the race room and decided that this GP isn't for him and thrown in the towel. So get your GGs in chat, both our runners. And I'm going to pull Chadbert up right now. Hello, Chadbert.
Hey.
Hey, I think traiLZ is coming, but GG.
GG to traiLZ when he gets here.
Yeah.
I just routed every palace incorrectly and forgot about the elevator and DM.
Yeah, so as far as palace routing goes, you basically did almost exactly the same palace routing as traiLZ. You lost a little bit of time in, I think it was 3, where you got the item and he didn't, and it ended up just being a hard container. Ended up getting a couple of magic and hard containers that traiLZ didn't that we were hoping would help you in GP. But yeah, unfortunately, you kind of called it the time you lost to not finding the way forward in GP. And to be fair, I also was confused and didn't know where we were going. Chat couldn't figure it out either. I think Irene was the first one. Was like, oh yeah, it's just a 4-way.
Yep.
But yeah, we didn't realize it either, and that was the only way to go. And unfortunately for you, as traiLZ, while you were looking for that, traiLZ was just doing palaces on the west, and as soon as he got to DM, he ended up immediately realizing what was up and finding the correct route. But most of the routing through palaces ended up being nearly identical. You gained a little bit of time just on having higher levels because of the way you routed, but that mistake killed you, unfortunately.
Yeah, traiLZ is not a player I can make a mistake on. I was sitting here going, I can't make any mistakes, and I have to make 1 to 2 really good plays in routing palaces in order to beat him. But unfortunately, I didn't make those 2 plays, and I made the 1 mistake.
Yep, and GG's to traiLZ.
GG traiLZ.
Not able to heal traiLZ right now. You may have some technical issues. But yeah, the beginning of the race was, I think, the coolest part. It ended up being sort of some interesting required routing.
How about now?
Oh, okay. Hey, traiLZ.
Hey, what's going on? Sorry about that.
Hey, GG. Yeah, so to talk it through from the beginning, you both sort of were doing the same things back and forth in opposite orders, checking all the early stuff, and obviously those boots made everything a complete joke. But yeah, we were talking with Chadbert earlier, traiLZ, the big difference in this race ended up being when Chadbert went to, you did palaces early and Chadbert was doing overworld routing, and Chadbert was the first one into DM and didn't realize that 4-way was a 4-way. And so ended up spending a bunch of time looking in other places, digging out items in palaces, not realizing that you had to take that up elevator off to the right in that 4-way room to advance in Death Mountain. And unfortunately just ended up spending probably 5, 6, 7 minutes, something like that, sort of lost. And when you both did very similar overworld routing and routed the palaces kind of the same way.
Yeah, it sucks. You needed the raft, right, out of Palace 1 in order to get to Death Mountain?
Yeah, Chadbert actually ended up doing P1 out of Logic early because he just had a couple keys in the drops. Yeah, you had to logically you had to get fairy and then do P1 and then go through DM, but there were enough keys in the small enemy pool that it was pretty easy to just do it out of logic.
Yeah, P1's worth trying it with 2 keys in your pocket. You
Oh,
can get an item worth less.
100%. Yeah, like I gotta be honest, I didn't really feel too good about this one. The very first cave was Heart Container Cave, which had the boots, and I completely missed it. I thought it was Parappa Pastor, so I walked around and then I went up and walked through the bridge encounter, got the grass tile, and then I walked around and I'm like, wait a minute, I can't go anywhere. That has to be the cave, so I went in there. Well, I saw there was
beanstalk enemy which you can't see.
yeah, exactly. And I thought that well, I saw that it was facing the raft tile, and I was like, oh, well, if that's that, then Parappa can't be anywhere else, so that has to be Heart Container Cave. And yeah, did you end up having a double dip palace too?
I did not double dip Palace 2 because I knew it had the cross, and so when I saw it, I was like, I'm out because I don't want to hit a glove block, and so I just kept doing overworld routing at that point, and found the glove, and then I went and did 2, 3, and then 5, and then went back to the west and started doing those.
How was your Palace 5? I had a terrible Palace 5. It took me forever to find that path.
I don't think I full cleared it, but I near full cleared it. And basically, I was, as I said earlier, I can win this, but it would require me to do like 2 palaces better. Basically, routing 2 palaces better than you and not making any mistakes to win. And unfortunately, I don't think I actually gained anything on the palaces side.
Yeah, you both took almost identical routes in most of the palaces.
I mean, despite the Death Mountain debacle, you still. I mean, I peeked after I got done, and you were in GP not far behind me. How many magic containers did you have? I only had 5. I couldn't find any more. I knew there was 1 in 4, but I didn't want to dig it out because it was time for GP at that point.
I accidentally dug out 4, not remembering that it was a magic container, because I was like, there's got to be a hammer or something.
I think the other container that he got you didn't was the basement.
Yeah.
Because you needed 6 for the basement.
That may have been magic. That may have been heart.
Okay, maybe, yeah. But yeah, you were able to full clear New Casino, whereas traiLZ sort of was,
I went to the back and got the candle and was like, oh my god, I just wasted 60 seconds.
Yeah.
I just went in there and got the back item because I got the glove. I forget where I got the glove hit, but I got the glove hit somewhere that said glove on the east. I think it might have been in Naburu, but
okay, I didn't go into Naburu. Yeah.
Yeah, the glove hit was in Naburu, but by the time that you found it, Chadbert had already found his glove, and we knew that you were almost certainly gonna find all the items on the east before continuing anyway. So it's a good confirmation, but not a huge advantage.
Yeah, and, I walked around Darunia first, and I saw the forest tile, but I didn't see the water tile down there. And after the first swoop, I saw it when I finished the first swoop on the east. I saw the water tile, and then was the hammer. It almost certainly had to be at this point because I got the cross hint, and I dug everything else out, except for 3. That I guess hammer could have been in 3. But I got the heart container out of Hammer Cave, and so basically everything up to that point was already accounted for. So it was, I guess unless it was in 3, whatchamacallit, or I guess it could have been in the basement at New Casino at that point, with the magic container out of 4. But yeah,
maybe in 6. Honestly, I don't remember. Wait, yeah, I don't remember what was in 6.
Was 6 was a pea bag.
Okay.
It was.
Oh, that's right. It was at Elvilla. You could see. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 6 gave me a run for the money too. I usually just hold right. I usually just hold right, and I ended up going down that elevator because I remember it being there was a lot of enemies right there by the elevator, and it was one of those ones that had the repeating enemies. And it was the breakable blocks on the left, and then there was like if you had jump spell, you could jump up and go right. It's like one of those weird community rooms. But yeah, it was gonna be. I didn't have the glove, and it was gonna end up being like a total pain in the butt if I tried to jump back up. And so yeah, 6 was the first palace I did, and I ended up going every single way until realizing all I had to do was hold right. And I don't know, I didn't feel really good getting like when I got into GP. Like what time did you end up getting into GP?
Not too long before you finished, honestly. I was probably in there for maybe 2 minutes before you finished.
Okay,
I don't know how long GP was.
It wasn't too bad, but it was really nasty. There were some rooms that were just covered in birds.
Okay.
I was on my last life when I was fighting Dark Link. Yeah, I had to take a death abuse before Thunderbird, and yeah, I mean it was pretty nasty. There was a very real threat of me taking a game over, and you would have probably stole it from me. But
was it up the first elevator or staying down?
I think it was staying down.
Okay, then maybe I was on the right path.
Yeah, you definitely were. I remember that that waffle room. I think you continued straight, and then you there was a fork, and then you had to go down and continue right. And
okay.
it was one of those lava rooms that has the key door in the front. You know, when you go down the elevator, there's an immediate key door, and then it's lava. Thunderbird was one room over from that, and then Dark Link was 2 or 3 rooms past that. So,
okay.
But
it wasn't that far behind. Maybe 5 minutes, which was the 5 minutes I spent with the stupid elevator issue and DM.
Yeah, Death Mountain can be awful sometimes, man.
I'm known for being bad at Death Mountain.
Yeah, you and me both. I've definitely been lost in Death Mountain more times than I can count. And I remember I was in a finals against Rose City Saint. Like, this had to be 4 or 5 years ago. And I spent 20-30 minutes in Death Mountain until I realized that I missed the raft tile or a cave or something really stupid that was out in the open that warped you to the other side. And I thought Death Mountain was the only way. And it was the grand finals, and it was the final game. I felt so bad after that because I was like, I went into Death Mountain, I was all in on Death Mountain, and I just ran around in circles scratching my head for like 20 or 30 minutes. It's really easy to just crap 30 minutes away in there. If
at least I only lost 5 minutes on it, but yes.
Well,
definitely understand that.
Yeah, it's been the death. It's been Death Mountain's a weird thing. It's been like what it's been what wins people's races. Like if people see Death Mountain and decide to take a gamble and they find Hammer Cave quick and it has the glove. And it's also like it's responsible for losing people a lot of races too, because you know, if you decide to take that gamble, you can easily spend 5-10 minutes in there looking for stuff or even just getting lost.
I will give a shout out to Death Mountain this time, having both caves right beside each other, and they both went to basically next to each other on the east. That was kind of hilarious.
Oh,
I definitely laughed at that.
There was 2 east connectors on Death Mountain?
Yep, they're right next to each other. If you went to the north one, then the one that was below you would go just south on the east. It was hilarious.
Oh, that's funny. That actually kind of matches up then, if they both like were next to each other on the east.
They weren't quite as close, but yeah, it was like the very next cave I found. I went back to Death Mountain. And I just laughed.
That's hilarious. Did you ever end up digging out Hammer Cave?
I did, because I found it on the way to the east.
Yeah, I saw
it. Was just a hard container.
Yeah, I felt pretty bad but I don't know. It was one of those seeds where I felt pretty bad the whole way because I made a lot of mistakes. I had to double dip too, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think I would have had a good chance if another of the east or the west palaces had golf block before the boss. That would have been what I needed, I think.
Yeah. Oh, so you yeah. So 6. You waited till the end to do 6.
I didn't finish any of the palaces on the west before getting the glove.
Oh, So you just got the item out of one.
Yep, I got
And
the
then
item.
the
I ran
raft.
out of keys with that, and I was like, all right, I'm out. It's a raft. I'm gonna go check that. After I find a couple of more things, then I found the raft tile, and it went to Death Mountain. I looked at him like, this looks terrible. Went north. Forgot that there was a elevator there, and it went to dead end. I'm like, okay, well, back to the west.
Yeah, I took the North Cave and I hit a dead end. And I didn't try. Was there a faster way to get through Death Mountain? Because I went full right into the river or the seashore along the side, and then I walked up, and then I went left.
I don't think there was. I think that was required.
Okay, yeah, because I took the North Cave first, and it just took me to a dead end patch of caves, and I was like, ah. But yeah, that last seed that we did, where we finished really close, whatchamacallit, man, that first Death Mountain pass through got you to the warp really quick. I had no idea that got you so close, because the second time you passed through Death Mountain, you were in and out in 2 seconds. So like, any time that I gained from you taking, did you take a game over in Death Mountain in our first race?
I didn't take a game over. I don't think it was in Death Mountain, but I took a game over early in the race.
I remember you hit that Death Mountain connector, the first one that we saw, and you were like,
Maybe it was. Yeah.
you were right on the east in like 2 seconds. I was like, man, I wish I would have found that path. Because I went up through the biome or through the caldera, and then it had to have been like 5 or 6 caves I had to pass through. It was very tedious. But I'm gonna go. I gotta get up early to help get my daughter on the school bus. And
Alright.
Thank you guys so much for doing the restream. Thanks for the race, GG's, Chadbert. There's a lot of stiff competition in this tournament. Might be seeing you in the NITs, but yeah, the bracket is stacked with like Chromaticism, Mirai, BKT, Patrick, Tiberius, and
A lot of newer runners. Yep.
yeah,
that are good.
Yeah, exactly. Like I gotta be honest, that really surprised me in our first race, because like I felt really good about that seed. I felt like I played really well, and I was like, yeah, this has got to be it. There's no way he's anywhere near close to finishing. And as soon as I finished, I looked over and you're like done before I could even see where you were at. And I was like, holy crap, that was so close.
The good
Yep,
news for
and
you,
I would have actually
Charles-
won that if I'd noticed the double stacked 4 ways and P6.
Oh my god, when I saw that, I was fortunate enough. I was fortunate enough to hold down and see the next. And when I realized what it was, I was like, man, that's so dirty. Elendar, you gotta fix that about this. When they stack like that, it's such a dirty trick. Like it was fortunate for me because I was able to figure it out, and then I went up, and Barbo's literally one elevator up.
I mean,
And,
we have the flag to prevent duplicate rooms. I'm not the one who makes the flag sense.
Well, the
I think
thing
we
is,
need
like,
more rooms before we do that, but yes.
yeah, if we do that, maybe keep duplicate rooms. Just don't allow them to stack on top of each other like that, because
Yeah, I
It
can
had-
look into it.
it had me fooled until I went down, and I was like, oh my god, that is so dirty. I almost just went up and right, and didn't even check the elevator.
Which is what I did, which it hadn't been me in a long time, but it did that time.
Yeah, I think. Oh, what were you gonna say, Eldar?
I was gonna say, Trails. The good news for you is that your next round opponent is guaranteed to be old and washed up. You face the winner of Dig Shake and me.
You get to face off against one
Nice.
of the random devs.
Yeah, Dig Shake is really good too, man. Like,
Dig Shake is in fact real good. Can confirm.
yeah, it's been a while.
Previous
since I've
tournament
been-
winner though. People aren't aware. Dig Shake is very good at the game.
Yeah, he's been low key. I wonder if he practices offline, because you don't really see him play much anymore. But I don't know. So have you? Well, I guess he's doing good because he's undefeated, I guess, against you.
Dig Shake is, I believe, undefeated against me. No spoilers for the previous we played today. We're playing again tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, all right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought.
But prior to this tournament, no, I had never beaten Big Shake. So.
Okay. Yeah, I just meant undefeated in the tournament up until facing against you.
Oh yeah, is Dick Shake's done quite well. I don't know exactly how he did in the Swiss, but I like to say I'm so far in this tournament I'm undefeated against people who haven't won the tournament before. So I keep facing prior tournament champions. So this, I'm gonna beat Dig Shake now, and if I win, I get to face you. So
that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, and then the winner of that match potentially faces Mirai. So it's a stack bracket, top to bottom.
Yeah, it's gonna be a banger of a race. Whoever races that guy. I know Chromaticalism's a banger race too. He got me by like almost 5 minutes 2 days ago. I was really surprised. I mean, like, I wasn't playing the greatest, but at the same time, like, I didn't feel like I was playing that bad. He finishes, and I'm like still, you know, just getting in the GP, and he finishes. I don't know. So that's another guy to look out for. Chromaticalism could easily take this. But I gotta bounce, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for the race, Chadbert, GG's, and thank you, ZeldaSpeedRuns, Elendar, Pomeltalk. And who did the tracking, RG365 or?
Yeah, RG did.
Yeah, thank you for the tracking, RG. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Good luck moving forward in the tournament, Chadbert and Elendar. Catch you guys next time. Thank you.
This is a good place for me to step in and get us out of here.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Chadbert, thank you for a great race. You and Trails putting on a great show for us. Eleanor, thank you for tracking. See, I did that twice. Thank you for talking. RG, thank you for tracking. Chat, thanks for coming out and watching. I'm going to send us over to Marine Mammal Rescue because everyone loves otters, and we're going to go. You guys all have a good night.